honestly don't know why more people don't know about the Michael Clay Thompson Language Arts program. So today, let's jump in and talk about what we're using for 7th grade language arts. Welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shauna, and if you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We are in our 8th year of homeschooling, and today I just want to take you along and share with you an in-depth look at what we are using for language arts for my 2nd grader. Guys, for language arts for my 7th grader. Guys, before we go any further, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. So, the Michael Clay Thompson program. I'm gonna give you just a few little snippets of information because I recently shared about the program with my 3rd grader, and I feel like a lot of the basics are pretty the same, so I'm gonna bullet point pretty quickly. If you need any more explanation, anything like that, I will have it linked down below in the description box, but I also probably have a video on it here if you are interested, if you need more information. So really quickly, it is by Michael Clay Thompson. It is a focus on grammar and writing. It is also an appreciation for the written word. It is billed as language arts for the gifted and talented. I would argue that that doesn't quite apply when you homeschool. You can find Michael Clay Thompson's products for sale through the Royal Fireworks Press website. They also offer many other things as well as not only the print curriculum, but also tutoring and classes and workshops available for the print curriculum. You can see right here, I have it, actually their website pulled up on my computer. I don't know if this is gonna be my final film spot, but this is where we are filming today. So, I personally really like the Michael Clay Thompson approach to language arts. It is for your children after they have started reading. So we are no longer learning to read, we are reading to learn. So for my oldest, we actually picked it up a little late, but I made a point to go back and start at the beginning because that was important for me. For my youngest, we actually started with the most recently released introductory level, which starts before level 1 and is narrative style books. There are now 6 of them. The 6th one I am not familiar with, that focus on Poodle and his friends teaching the basic concepts of grammar, phrases, comma usage, things like that. They're really colorful, very entertaining, and we have enjoyed them very much in our home. So I have now used all of the levels, the introductory, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and we are now and today discussing the 4th level, which is the classic literature level. I can tell you that my daughter's only complaint, and this was actually the focus of her first point paper, is that there are not any novels. None of the official novels all the way up are highlighting a female author, and she takes great offense to that. There are many selections presented from female authors, female poets, but as far as the readings, there are none written by a female author, so that is her big complaint. I personally love this approach to language arts, and I wish more people knew about it. It is about discussion and about an appreciation for the written word, a love of the word, a focus on academic writing, but not in a formulaic way, in a way that makes it make sense. And the way that this is presented and highlighted is through historical essays and through actual poetry and through classic novels and through vocabulary that traces back to the stems that are presented in level 1, as well as the words that are used in classic literature. So that is where the vocabulary is coming from. The perfect way to explain this approach to understanding grammar and writing and an appreciation of the word and literature study and all of that, I feel like it is a perfect example, is we opened up the poetry book, which starts off with, you have 2 ways that you can use this book. So Plan A is that you give it to your students and you just let them report to you that they have read it when they are finished. so that they can absorb, so that they can understand, so that they can appreciate what they're learning in their own time, in their own way. And then plan B is that you do use that as more of a study. We have opted for plan C, which if you've followed along for any period of time, you know that I will use things the way that I see fit, and I will make a graphic like I did for my third grader of how we're using this program, and I will also walk you through and type it out down in the description box. But we are opting for plan C, which is we read it together and discuss it. But it's not any kind of like formal assigned. We're not doing any kind of assignments, anything related to poetry. So really fast, let me pause right here and talk about a couple more of the logistics. It is 14 books. 14 books. I'm not kidding. It's always so many books. They have so many different purchase options, and you actually receive the implementation guide if you purchase a complete homeschool package. I don't use it, but I get it because I like to purchase the full package. Now you can do all books, instructor and student, which is what I do, which is the complete homeschool package. Or you can do ebooks for everyone, or you can do a mix. So you could do ebooks for instructor, print books for student, or you can do just a student set of books if all you need is kind of the next round of your student, which is what I purchased for my third grader. So as you're reusing it, you can just buy what you need, which is really great. Now, they do have an implementation guide, which is, again, specific for the complete homeschool package, and they do send it to you. And I'm not going to tell you what that is because that's their proprietary information. So I will not be doing that. I will just tell you that it does take a little of this and a little of this and a little of this, and you're using them all at the same time, and that just didn't work for us. We didn't enjoy the program when we used it that way. Now, something that I have done differently in this fourth level is that instead of taking the grammar portion and then the writing portion and then the poetry portion, I actually have extended the writing portion to all year. And that is because this writing portion this year is so meaty. Something that I absolutely love about the fourth level is that the practice sentences that your student is completing when they're doing their 4-level sentence analysis, which is something that I think is incredibly useful from MCT, we'll circle back in just one moment, is that the sentences used are sentences from classic literature that are referenced throughout the entire program. And I personally love that it's giving you an opportunity to really dissect the author's word. So, Michael Clay Thompson does do a 4-level sentence analysis on each sentence. So instead of like sentence diagramming, you take a sentence and beneath it are 4 blank lines. And the first line is for the part of speech. So noun, verb, whatever. The next line is for part of sentence, subject, verb, direct object, and so forth. The third line is for any clauses, prepositional, gerund, for any phrases, prepositional, gerund phrase, participle, any of those kinds of phrases. And then the fourth line is for clauses. Is it independent? Is it dependent? Is it coordinating? Is it all of those things is for the fourth line. So I really like this approach. I love that it's teaching the love of the written word. So instead of being incredibly formulaic in the explanation of writing, where, you have a 5-sentence introductory paragraph followed by 3 5-sentence body paragraphs. It really lets your kids know that as long as they are conveying their message and they are getting their point across, a paragraph, an entire paragraph can be 1 line if it does it well. And this is all about doing it well. So it does start in the beginning with teaching your children how to form a good sentence. And then from there, the next level is a good paragraph. And from there, the next level is a basic essay. And now we have moved on to point papers and focusing on, for example, in the writing curriculum, it is stressing the end effect. And so it will have 2 paragraphs from, again, a famous literature selection, and they have smashed them together. And they want your children to read them and understand where the paragraph break is that the author put so that they can understand the effect on the end of a sentence. So the hard consonants, the big words that convey a big meaning and drop off to silence so that they appreciate where that transition is happening. Now, again, this is a kind of a wild approach, right? It is not formulaic. We are not teaching reading and writing to our children in an effort for them to be able to get the maximum score on a standardized test. And I am at peace with that. I honestly prefer it. I would prefer that they loved reading, that they loved writing, that they enjoyed wallowing in the word, than that they could just reproduce an essay on demand and have it be just like little Janie's essay next door. So for me, I personally love that. Now, let's talk about investment because it's huge, okay? It is huge. First of all, it is a big investment just of time on your part because there is a lot of reading aloud. I quite enjoy it where I'm reading things I never knew that I had never read. It's a bit of time. It is also quite a bit of an investment. We are talking hundreds of dollars for just this language arts program. However, the language arts program does cover grammar, vocabulary, and writing and poetics. So it does cover a large portion of that. It does not cover spelling. Give me one second. I'm going to give you the exact number. Okay, so the complete paperback package, all 14 instructor books, and well, it's not 14. Actually, I think it is 11 instructor books because you don't get you get like one instructor guide for all of the novels, but not 2 copies of each novel, if that makes sense. And all 14 student textbooks, as well as the implementation guide, is $280. Now, it's a big investment. Again, there are many different kinds of format options, and there are also workshops and online classes. So if you watch all of these videos and you're like, man, that is daunting and crazy, which genuinely is part of the reason that I like to come here and share not only about the pieces that we're using, but how we're using them, because I have tweaked almost everything, is because if you look at the implementation guide or you look at some of these videos out here, even their own videos, Royal Fireworks Press own implementation videos, which they do have on their site, explaining to you how to use this program, I was so confused. So I'm just going to tell you simply, and I will put a graphic on this screen. The way that we have used this level 4 Michael Clay Thompson language arts program for my 7th grader is we started the year by reading, and you go over it every year. You start with grammar. So we started with reading grammar. Now, I knew that the writing portion, which I usually follow the grammar book with, was very long, had a lot of activities, and I wanted to space them out, get more of them done in an easier manner. So we started with grammar. And we also started with the writing book, reading it together, as well as vocabulary. Now, the way that we are using these, I like to read 1 chapter a week from the grammar book, okay? I like to do vocabulary. We will read the chapter together, the reading portions, this week. Every day, she will do one of the vocabulary activities. She will do this for 2 weeks. At the end of the 2nd week, because there are only 10 lessons at the end of the 2nd week, she will take a test over those terms that she's learned up to that point. And that is how we are getting through the vocabulary portion. It takes about 20 weeks, okay? So the grammar book and also the writing book. Now, the writing book, what I've done is we read, and there's so much reading. There's so much reading in the writing book, especially from chapter 1. So I did break that up longer. So we would read a good chunk of it. And then once we had finished reading the portions, she would do 1 writing assignment a day. And what it is, like I said, there's like 2 paragraphs smushed together, and you have to read it and figure out where the paragraph break is. At the end of all 4 chapters of the writing assignment, there is a point paper. And that is a paper that is written. She's got an essay she has to write. So I usually give her a week or 2 on that essay. Now, this writing done this way is taking the full year. Honestly, at this point, we are just now kind of at the end of 3rd quarter, start of 4th quarter, and we still haven't made it to our 2nd point paper, but we have taken our incredibly slow time. But also, chapter 1 is much longer than 2, 3, and 4, so it should go much faster from here. And as other things drop off, we'll go from there. So starting grammar, starting writing, and starting vocabulary all at once. Now, the 3 novels we will read. The novels, with the exception of level 1, are not dependent on anything. So we will read them and discuss. So these 3 novels specifically, The Hound of Baskervilles, we read as a family, as just a read aloud. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, we'd already read as a read aloud. And so she read that one on her own. And Rue Morgue's, she actually just wrapped up and she read it out loud over the course of about a week to her sister. So they read that at bedtime together. And that is how we are doing those novels. And then we discuss them because we've all read them and they're great fun. After we finish grammar, the grammar portion of the study, as soon as we finish that book, we pick up one practice sentence a day. So on her average day, she's doing one vocabulary exercise, one writing exercise, and one 4-level sentence analysis on any average day, with the exception of Mondays when we're usually reading a large portion of the text. So it's not so hard. She was only responsible for completing 2 of the 3 novels this year. She slacked a bit on getting Rue Morgue started, so we gave her some hard deadlines, but then she chose to read out loud to her sister and it worked out really well. Now, we put off, because normally I put writing in between grammar and poetics, but I didn't this year. So we finished grammar in the fall and we took quite a big break. So once we've come back and really gotten started in the spring semester, we have now added back in poetics, which again, we are just reading aloud and discussing, and that's it. So I really like this format. She did finish, like I said, her first point paper was about women's novels being selected for the required reading in this course. And I am not confident at the level to officially grade these papers. I don't have any training in this. So what I did is I read it over and marked it up with my red pen for what I thought felt out of place. I had my husband, who's much better at grammar, also read over it for what he thought was out of place. And then I copy pasted the entire text and put it in ChatGPT to give me an evaluation. And ChatGPT gave me an evaluation. I told it to, use the MLA parameters, all of those things, and give me some feedback. And it gave it a score of 85% with very specific feedback, which I thought was quite good. So then instead of having her go back and correct it, because I think 85 is pretty good, especially for her first point paper of the year. And don't forget, my personal approach has been that we don't teach formal writing for quite a while, so keep that in mind as well. I felt like 85 was quite good. So instead of having her go back and redo anything, with the exception of a few like simple editings, capitalization, misspelling of a word, things like that, then we just discussed the paper and that was it. So that is how that has been working. Now, let's pop over. I'm going to give you a look into some of the books to give you an idea. Not all of them, because again, we are nearing the end of the year. We are actively homeschooling and we've moved. I don't know where they all are. I do not, full disclosure, know where they all are, but I would like to give you a look inside of some of these books. So let's pop over and I'll give you a look. Okay, guys, so here is a look inside the many, many books of our Michael Clay Thompson Level 4. However, not all of them, because I don't know where they are. Don't forget we've moved, be kind to me. So this is just a small stack. I also could not find my implementation guide, and there's a couple things in here I actually need to grade from today. So let me just give you the quick rundown. If you didn't know, there's actually a QR code in the front of the books with a code where you can log on and print off the test materials. So be sure to do that to take advantage. These are from the vocabulary. Okay, so let me show you some of the readers. I don't know where the other one is. It's on a shelf somewhere. So this is where I had marked off what she needed to read when. Now, this is what the readers look like. And this is why I buy these specific books, is because they will define the terms down in the bottom if it's a term that your kiddo needs to know. They also will highlight any specific interesting language portions. So I like that. I like having these specific copies that are part of the program. They also give you a quick little author's bio in the front, which I think is really fun. A little explanation on why it's good. And then it does come with the parent manual, which covers all 3 books, as well as just gives you some things that you need to know, some questions you can follow up on, a little bit further writing if that's what you would like to do. Now, let's look here. So, instructor manual student manual. So the instructor manual has a bit more information. It explains how to get started. And let me just take you through. So for example, here is lesson 2. It has the words defined, and I like that it's following up, like flashing back to the previous 2 levels. Then it has an essay about Jane Austen, or each specific author, and it's got original works by Michael Clay Thompson. It has different activities that you can do, which in the instructor manual are answered for you. And it goes through several different activities before moving on to the next lesson. Now, this is what the same thing in the student book looks like. So same lesson. As you can see, it is not telling you what the way the words are used here. It also is not bolded here to let them know which answer. These are not entirely filled out. I really just love the repetition of, you are diagramming, or not diagramming, I'm sorry. You're doing the 4-level analysis in your practice. You're doing the same kind of part of speech identification in your vocabulary. I like the repetition. Now, this is poetry of literature, and where we talked about you can just plan A or plan B. I like the subtle color changes that you will see throughout the entire program so that he can highlight what he wants you to know. So, for example, we just read over the repeating S sounds of Moby Dick. So it makes it sound like the sea. And I like that very much. Now, let's see. We've got our practice. Now, this is what my students' work will look like. And I will just come over here and check her sentence for her. So I'm going to pause really, really fast. It really is that easy. And I love that these are sentences from classic literature, and it tells you where it's from. I love that. Absolutely love that. Now, she is currently obsessed with this end effect paragraph practice because there is no wrong answer. It is just improving on the last line of the paragraph to give it the end effect, which is what they're currently studying in the writing of literature. And again, as you can see, the instructor manual has the answers in it, whereas the student text does not. Yep. And we are just going to zip right on along until her next point paper, and then hopefully get this wrapped up in a timely manner. Now, the grammar of literature we did already finish. Now, all of the Michael Clay Thompson programs start with grammar. And it spells it out. I love the colored bubbles that help you understand how it is split apart. And again, all of these are answered in the instructor manual and not in the student workbook. Okay, let me show you with the books. You start, here, I'll show you with the instructor's guides. We started with grammar, writing, and vocabulary, okay? As well as the first of our 3 readers. The readers are just read in order independently of the rest of the program. That is how I'm using these, okay? Now, both of these will run the entire time. When we are finished with the grammar of literature, we went ahead and added in practice sentences. And then after Christmas, we went ahead and started the poetry of literature. Normally, I would go 1, 2, 3. However, there's so much meat in the writing, I wanted to give it its full justice. And so we are taking it all year. So this, start at the beginning, at leisure, follow the grammar with the practice, okay? And then add it in the poetry of literature for the second half of the year. That's it. Guys, that's it. That's my look, my in-depth look, how we are using the Michael Clay Thompson Language Arts program for our 7th grader, the level 4, which is the classic literature level. If you have any questions at all, I am happy to answer. If you want any of the ideas and how we're doing it, again, I did put an infographic and I will type it out down below in the description box. So I hope that you found any of this helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit that big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me right on down in the comments or over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Please keep in mind, I would like you to do 3 things for me. If you are considering Michael Clay Thompson, please do not let the use of it scare you away, because I got really intimidated myself, and then I found how it could work for us. Please do not let the cost of it scare you away. It is very valuable. I think it is incredibly worth it, and it is honestly pretty comparable to some of the other programs we've used, like Mazdas, for example. And do not let the term gifted scare you away, because again, I would argue that it is just meeting your kid where they are. So don't let those things scare you away from looking further into this program if you feel like it could be a good fit for you.